We are rolling. First of all, I want to say hello to my friend. We've done this for a couple of years now at the Waymaker Men's Summit, the number one men's empowerment seminar in the country. Nothing like it.
Only thing like it on the planet.
On the planet.
Yeah. Just happy to be part of it, man.
So this is your third year.
My third year. Yeah.
And for folks who haven't been here, what can we tell folks about what you can expect?
Right off the bat, man, it's a different energy, man. I just listened to Dr. Marcus Collins open up the session. You're talking about the importance of culture in the sense of the soil from which things grow, right? And you can take a completely perfect seed, put it in the very wrong soil, and it's not about to do anything. You take that same perfect seed, put it in the proper soil, give it the right nutrients, water it the right way, love on it a little bit, and it grows beyond compare. Think about when that one seed, you put one seed in there, it grows so much more. It's the same thing with this. You have these seeds that have been in different circles, sort of marginalized, right, historically, but you put them in the right soil, and they give so much more. It's not just a little seed. One seed planted doesn't give you one little corn. One seed planted gives you a whole row of corn. It's the same way with us. I am an example of that, right? I'm from the south side of Chicago, man, born and raised. I could have very well been placed in the wrong soil. It was that my mother and my church community and the people who, the Creator actually put in my path, make sure that the soil was right for me. And if I have anything to do with it, agreeing with my purpose, it's going to produce much more than just one little Dave Montgomery, right? That's not going to be good for anybody. Ask my wife. She only wants one. Okay, they can't have more than one. That's too bad. That's bad. So,
It's interesting that, as a community, we don't pay enough attention to our health, right? So you always leave me with some seeds. And you do your panels and you do discussion with Louis, some stuff that we may or may not have thought about. And what are some things that you think that are important that folks who are hearing this and maybe participating in the Waymaker Summit should take from you?
Yeah, it's one of the things that I think about every day in my day-to-day practice, right? So, I started a clinic called Prevent Clinic, prevention, but before it happens, so we say prevent, not prevent. Prevent like defense, like I'm serious about it. And when we back up and just sort of zoom all the way out, prevention, the mainstay of prevention is early detection. The mainstay of prevention is choices. So as you'll hear, Louis Carr this weekend talk about competing with yourself for growth, really is about your decisions. The decisions that we make in and around our health, right, are ones that we kind of don't do it on purpose. And we're not just talking about black men, we're talking about people just in general. It's too often a thing that we just sort of stumble upon. If everything seems like it's okay, we just keep going, right? We just sort of drift along. We don't really pay much attention to it. Sometimes disasters occur and you're forced to pay attention to it, right? Rattles that cage a little bit. What I want guys to know is, in order to be their fullest selves, the fullest version of who they are here to be, that you can't get out of your body alive. Like Les Brown used to say, you can't get out of your body alive. You can't leave your body for 1 second. You can't put it aside. Oh yeah, I'll get back to that when I get time. When I get time? What are you talking about? This is the time. I don't have an opportunity because I'm so busy. I want guys to understand that if you make it a priority, it will propel you to places that you have no idea you can go. In other words, you cannot be your fullest, truest, perfect version of yourself without having that piece intact, right? Your body, having a body that's optimized for the journey, and having a mind that's primed for the journey. Those are two things that we have to pay deliberate attention to. That's what we're going to be kind of focusing on. Let's make this a priority so that we won't have the things that take black men out.
Yeah, it's amazing that you say that, how folks find time to do things that they want to do, but don't prioritize the things that are important to keep them around long enough to get to all of those things. Like, so if you're, working so hard, I don't have time to do this. Like, well how are you going to keep working hard if you're not taking care of yourself on that level? Like, how do you create a playing field so that you can excel at whatever it is that you're doing if you're not taking care of the things that are important?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and the other part too is I think I'm busy. You're not busy. You want to know somebody's busy? Go ask, Robert Smith, the billionaire. Go talk to Bob Iger, Disney head now. Go talk to Oprah Winfrey. You'll see some busy people. Guess what? Every last one of those people has not perfect, but has as a priority their health. Bob Iger is really serious about it. I don't know if you've seen Bob. Bob, I don't know, Bob is 70. I don't know how old Bob is. Mm-hmm. Bob is running an organization that is as big as the United States in terms of the president of the United States. He probably makes more decisions about the enterprise than the president does. He wrote it in his book. Okay, he's got a book. He gets home. If I'm in the city where I live and my wife is, I'm going home for dinner. Everybody knows it. Number 2, he will not sacrifice on his exercise regimen. He has a regimen. He's up early now. He has a regimen. When you look at the guy, 70, he's a picture of health. You can't just drift along and be the picture of health. Not at 70 years old, not males. Testosterone's gone by 70. You got to go earn that thing. So it's a deliberate thing. Ask Oprah Winfrey what she does. Now, she's got some resources that you may not have, but it doesn't mean you can't make sure you have a mindfulness strategy, an exercise regimen, and pay attention to how you're fueling your body. Same thing with Bob. Now, we want to be like some of these people, especially in the sense of how much money they have or the things that they're doing. We look up to them for those things. But underneath the surface, that swan is floating so nicely over the surface of underneath the surface, it's going bananas to keep it going, right? So that's what we should be trying to figure out. Let's pull the hood up on this boy. Let's see how the engine's running so that I can start working on that. Paying attention to your health is critical. Health is wealth, as we say.
So let's talk a little bit about mass media and social media and how that's crucial to enhancing public health and awareness and all of that stuff. You've been pretty good at realizing how to access that. Like, I see you on social media often. We respond, we comment on each other's stuff. But how important is that to the overall mission? Because obviously a big part of this is meeting people where they are.
Right. Yeah. Well, it always has been. I remember when I first broke into media, I was dismayed by the statistics. When I started residency, after medical school, you go to residency and then you specialize. I'm sitting in residency. We go and we have these conferences every morning, early in the morning. And almost all these conferences, man. And black folks have more disease and they die more, kind of circling with the pointers. Like, what in the world is going on? When I got into cardiology, after residency, I trained to be a cardiologist, subspecialized. They were like, this is a condition that kills the most people, far and away compared to the cancers combined, the number one cancers combined, the top cancers combined, kills the most people. But as a scientist, when I went to medical school, I already had a PhD. But as a scientist, I knew, but it's a condition that we know what causes it. Not only that, we know how to stop people from dying from it. So somebody's got to figure that out for me. How is there a condition that kills far and away more people than anything else, that we know what causes it? Cancers, we don't know what causes many of the cancers. We're still trying to figure it out. And we know how to stop people from dying from it. So it was clear to me, and I said that on this platform before, that there is a messaging problem. We have a marketing problem. We are not getting the message out. So I was like, well, then where do you go to get that message out? Well, go where people are. But meeting people where they are doesn't mean that you've got to dumb something down. You just go where they are. Where were people at that time? This was 2007 when I started in media. Well, people were in media, mass media at the time. Started in print, Ebony Jet. Then I started radio with Santita Jackson on WVON. I'm on there every week with Santita Jackson, almost like the Dr. Oz Oprah thing. I mean, I would go sneak in the call room, do a little hit with her, and then come out and go take care of patients. And the response was overwhelming. And I'm like, if this is how we get to more people, sign me up. Then I started doing television, WGN first, live news. And live news, you don't get a chance to do it again. There's no retake. Like my podcast, we're like, do that again. Stop. Right? And so I cut my teeth in live TV. So being able to get the message right. So you're kind of honing the craft. The sword was being sharpened. And then I started doing talk shows. When we did talk show, my very first national talk show was the Steve Harvey Show when he used to film it right here in Chicago. He was at NBC, which was literally 4 blocks from Northwestern Medical Center, which is where I trained. And I shot down there, did this, the first one, we talked about heart disease and a woman who was young. She was like 42 years old and found out she had a blocked artery. I mean, she was a picture of health. This whole idea that you can have disease and not have a sign or a symptom, okay? Really important. And the reason why I tell that story is because I was able to be a little bit more Dr. Dave, right? It's very different if I'm doing rounds with the attending. You got to comport. But I could be a little bit more who I am. I was just figuring out who that was. And the message stuck to people. So about 2 weeks later, the producer sends me an email from one of the viewers. And the viewer said, "Thank you, Steve, for airing that show. Because of that, I found out that I had a 90% blockage in one of my arteries." It makes your spine tingle, right? Unless you don't have a soul. Like I said, absolutely. If this is what we can do, and we can do it on a larger scale than I can do it just go from room to room, which I love, and seeing patients, sign me up. And then social media started taking off. And I said, boy, we have an opportunity to hit even more people. And that's where we are. So to your point, go where people are. It doesn't have to be some, diluting the message. It's just translating the message, taking it to the proper platform. That's what it was.
Yeah, and you said something that really struck with me in terms of folks going through life, thinking they're okay, looking okay, but still possibly having an underlying problem. I have a personal story. One of my best friends, he and I, we're always active. We work out.
Yeah.
He works out way more than me.
Yeah.
Running and lifting and everything.
Yeah.
And he's at the gym one day, dropped dead. He worked out, did some punching. Went to the locker room to change. Was talking to somebody. Joking. And just passed out. They had to resuscitate him. Come to find out, he had several blocked. I think it was like 75%. He had to go straight to surgery.
Yeah, young man.
Yeah. And it's, you would never believe it looking at him. So it's a lot of folks who are just wandering around, and because they don't, pay attention, and maybe that message that you had in that particular moment, I'm sure saved some lives.
Yeah.
To check. Do all these things that you need to do and stop assuming that it's going to be, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a natural thing, though. It's a natural thing to think, I feel great. There can't be anything wrong. The truth is there's no human alive with perfect physiology. Nobody has nothing abnormal about them. What our job is to figure out what is the thing that may not be normal about me and take really good care of it. How do you do that? Well, if you could just sit at home and and use your phone or AI or something and figure it out, that would be great. That's coming. It's not here yet. You got to go to a medical establishment. You got to hire a doctor that you can trust and start that inquiry. What is it about me that's not perfect? My imperfections, let me focus on them and treat them and take really good care of them. That's the key.
Yeah, and I know we have to wrap up shortly, but let me ask you this. You mentioned something that I'm interested in. AI, like where are we going with AI in the medical field, and how is it going to be beneficial, or is it going to be some issues that we need to worry about with AI being so prevalent?
Yeah, so I'm 50, and I remember when computers were personal computers were just coming around. The generation before us thought we were going to hell. It's Atari. Oh, this Commodore 64, man, y'all are going to, it's going to be over. Right. And we were like, what are you talking about, right? Technology has gotten us to where we are right now. We're doing some stuff right now in this setting that we were not able to do when we were coming up. Absolutely. AI is the same way. Ted Sarandos from Netflix said, AI is not going to take your job. The guy who uses AI the best is going to take your job. So I liken it almost to Pokemon. So, my daughter liked Pokemon back in, 2 years ago. Now she can't stand it. And that's what Pokemon is, right? It's humans who use these tools and the person who uses it the best wins the game. The person who's going to leverage AI's power the best in health and healthcare are going to win the game. The game in health is offense. Offense wins games. We talk about defense wins games. I'm still trying to figure that out. Offense wins games in health. And so if you go on offense using AI, using technology, and using what we know from time immemorial, you win the game of health. I think we all should be trying to figure out how we apply that to each other. Yeah.
Brother, it's always a pleasure.
Yeah, man. It's a pleasure indeed. Yeah, absolutely.
Waymaker Men Summit.
Yeah.
Man behind the curtain, Keith Lawson.
Yeah.
Dave.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, brother.
It's a pleasure, man.